In our previous learning module, we look at phishing, a cybercrime that hackers perpetrate to get access to your sensitive data. Knowing more about phishing is a great way to protect yourself as an individual with an online presence who makes several online transactions on a regular basis. But now, let's broaden our perspective and look at how organizations such as your bank or your university protect themselves from online predators. My name is Rhea, and I will be your guide on your next learning journey about vulnerability management. Real hacking incidents.
On June 11, 2020, one of the country's premier universities saw a threatening message on its official website. On the homepage, there was an image that included the warning, "You're endangering the welfare of your students." Scary, isn't it? But in a way, this university was lucky. Although it had to take down its web server while it was investigating the hacking incident, it looks like the hackers didn't get deeper into the school system to compromise the security of students or professors. Another university wasn't as lucky. 6 days before this hacking incident, another academic institution had a security breach of its own. Hackers were able to access the personal data of students, such as birthdays, postal addresses, even their grades, by infiltrating the university's online student portal.
Importance of websites in the digital age. These are just two examples of real hacking incidents. There are so many more security breaches out there that have resulted in serious damages, all targeting what has become prime property in the digital age, the official website. With so many of us relying more and more on the World Wide Web, organizations big and small are making sure they have a strong online presence. A website is one of the most important digital channels an organization can use to establish that presence. Having a website lends credibility to an organization. How many times have you searched for a company online to check if it's a legitimate business? See?
Companies also use their websites to market their products and services. Did you know that in the Philippines, online platforms are the strongest influencers when it comes to vehicle purchasing decisions? Imagine the kind of marketing power a car brand's website wields in this environment.
Which is why websites are prime target for hackers. They bring so much value to an organization. Unfortunately, not all websites are secured and maintained properly with updated security patches. Ideally, a website should be the subject of regular vulnerability assessment reports with corresponding remediation activities so that it remains protected from breaches. I'll explain more of that later. First, let's talk about what makes websites vulnerable to hacking. In some cases, hackers are able to infiltrate a website because of improper website configuration. This happens when developers, those who created the website, use weak administrator login credentials such as passwords that are easy to crack. These credentials are then used by the person who manages the website and has the most power to make any changes. Did you know that weak passwords were one of the most common cybersecurity vulnerabilities in 2019? According to research by PreciseSecurity.com, a privacy and internet security advocate, a weak password was the cause of 30% of ransomware infections last year. Another potential vulnerability of a website is having unnecessary software features that could be exploited by hackers. A file sharing software enabled in a website, for example, can be exploited by a hacker. So if you don't need this software, it's probably best to leave it disabled. Unpatched software weaknesses or vulnerabilities in a program or code that remain unfixed is another potential gateway for hackers into a website. Usually, OS developers such as Microsoft release patches or fixes for newly discovered weaknesses in their softwares. If these patches aren't installed immediately, weaknesses could be exploited by hackers. In some cases, Website administrators may not be aware that there are security holes in their software until hackers exploit it. This could be because these administrators do not practice regular vulnerability management activity, so they have no visibility into the weakness of their website. How can organizations protect their websites? Considering all these potential vulnerabilities, how can organizations protect their websites and other digital assets? Through vulnerability management. Finally, I get to explain the concept. Vulnerability management is a security practice that involves several steps, all of which are meant to proactively prevent bad actors from taking advantage of IT vulnerabilities such as software weaknesses and improper configurations. Those steps are detecting, evaluating, prioritizing, fixing, and reporting security vulnerabilities in web applications, computers, mobile devices, and software. When it comes to physical security, you can just lock a door and you're good to go. Website security is not that simple. Let's keep going. Vulnerability management in action. Now you may ask, how does an organization accomplish all of these steps to stay protected? One way is by using a software called a vulnerability scanner, which is designed to scan computers or websites for known vulnerabilities. There are many vulnerability scanners available in the market. Some you may have to pay for, while others are open source or free. But all of them can identify and detect vulnerabilities arising from misconfiguration and software weaknesses. At Deloitte, we make it a point to use a combination of vulnerability scanners so that we're able to gather more data and aren't reliant on just one tool. In some cases, the type of vulnerability scanner to use will be defined by the services of the organization that needs it. A bank, for example, that offers mobile and internet banking should have a vulnerability assessment process that covers the mobile bank application and online banking website, since these systems handle sensitive financial data. A manufacturing or a power generation company, on the other hand, will usually require a vulnerability assessment process that focuses on the operational technology network or OT network. Some examples of an OT network are systems that control a valve or a temperature and power generation company or a robot in a production line that is used to assemble car parts. These OT networks require regular vulnerability assessment to prevent unauthorized access and control over critical systems. Besides spotting vulnerabilities, the scanner software can also suggest fixes or solutions for detected weaknesses. Usually, a vulnerability scanner has its own database of all vulnerabilities for different types of software, such as Microsoft and Linux, and hardware such as Cisco, HP, and Dell. Brilliantly enough, that database also includes corresponding recommendations on how to fix those vulnerabilities and assess the severity and the potential impact of, say, data leakage or unauthorized access. Interesting skills you can hone for vulnerability management. Are you interested in someday being part of an organization's IT security team? Or are you looking to increase your security awareness so that you can be a more responsible digital user? Either way, there is no stopping the expansion of the digital world, especially with our experience with the coronavirus pandemic. So, any skill and knowledge that will help you understand and navigate the world better will be a plus on your record. For our part, we think honing these three skills will help you become a security asset wherever you choose to work. First is familiarity with computer network concepts. Learn how an unauthorized person can gain access to a network. That way, you will also learn how to protect and secure a network. Now, you didn't hear from me, but talking with hackers, figuring out how they think, will help you anticipate which entry a hacker might attempt to exploit or what type of weaknesses they look for. This could help you proactively prevent those attacks by securing your network and systems where needed. Another helpful skill is being familiar with the different flavors of operating systems such as Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Majority of enterprises here in the Philippines use a combination of Microsoft and Linux operating systems, so probably best to start with those. If you know how to configure and monitor these operating systems, you will in turn have a better understanding of how to secure these systems.
If you want to try doing just that, Microsoft and Linux usually offer free downloads of their operating systems, which you can use to practice in terms of installing, configuring, and using it.
Finally, it's useful to have knowledge of programming languages. Learn secure coding so that you can protect your applications. How to sharpen this skill? Try creating your own website or app using free resources in the internet, such as Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Platform.
You'll find yourself using different types of programming languages such as Python, Java, and PHP. And when you're done, try using known web security frameworks such as the Open Web Application Security Project,
which will guide you on how to secure your website or app in a systematical method. That's your learning journey on vulnerability management. I hope you pick up some new concepts today that will help you stay on top of your digital security risks. But the lesson isn't done yet. Hop on to our next module, Security 101 for the New Normal, where we will explore security concepts that will be key to thriving in a digital disrupted world.